I really love Quentin Tarantino's movies, but respectfully, there's something a little silly going on lately. So in April of 2024 in Los Angeles, the cast of Pulp Fiction got together for a 30-year reunion. I can't believe it's been 30 years, but that's what happened. But something surrounding the event happened that kind of stole the show. He was all set to do his 10th and self-proclaimed final movie, The Movie Critic, and at the last minute just got scrapped. Now, why would that happen? First, the reasons he says he only wants to do 10 is that he doesn't want to seem out of touch towards the end of his career. He doesn't want to make subpar works as he gets older compared to works that he's done previously. And he wants to go out on a high note. He wants to go out in his prime and leaving people wanting more. I don't want to project. It's his life. Obviously, he can do what he wants, and we all are entitled to our opinions and thoughts, and that doesn't necessarily mean that he has to feel those things or agree with them. But I would like to point out a few things that I think make his argument for only making 10 films respectfully silly. First, if you're out of touch or you're worried about being out of touch, isn't that something that you can change? There's a ceiling there. You can't be like a 72-year-old guy hanging out at the pool hall saying, all right, to people around you. But that doesn't mean that you can't sort of update your software, right? His movies are so good that they deal with a lot of evergreen or eternal issues, human problems, human emotions, human relationships, human connections, and those things are never going to go away. You don't have to update your software for that. You're just talking about things that I think could be changed, like the language that goes around them, or maybe the use of technology, things like that. Like, this is, to me, something that it's a fear of what might happen, but that's not actually happening. The next reason he gives is that he does want to do subpar work compared to his earlier work. Again, though, this is living in a future tense. How do you know that, let's say he decided to do 20 movies. And by the way, I think picking 10 movies is arbitrary. The number is arbitrary. It doesn't matter. Why not 11? Why not 14? If you agreed to do a certain number of films for some reason, how do you know that your last 2 or 3 films won't be the best things you've ever done? How do you know if you direct a movie when you're 89 that it won't be better than Pulp Fiction? You don't know that. There's a lot of assumptions going on here with the logic behind only doing 10 films that I don't like. I get why Seinfeld went out. That's different. That's a sitcom. That's like you grow up with characters who are single and they're moving around the city in New York. You could probably keep going. I mean, The Simpsons keeps going and they never change anything. Films are a little bit different. In his case, it's very different because you can change the main character. You're not in the films other than like some small parts. So the stories change and the people change. So that sort of argument to me goes out the window. And if you're basing this on, well, I love these directors and they did a few films towards the end of their career that are not very good, that doesn't have anything to do with you. And by the way, there are plenty of examples in art, in music, in film, where our opinion or our perspective on them changes dramatically over time. This is going to be kind of blasphemous, but I don't like Reservoir Dogs. I love his films, but that one, for some reason, I can't connect with. I liked it a little bit when it first came out in the 90s, and I rewatched it a few years ago. Didn't care for it at all. But that doesn't mean 25 years from now, I might watch that and go, yeah, actually, I get it now. I connect with it now. Because to me, in my life, in my experience, I wasn't ready for that. You know, the idea behind it wasn't ready to connect with me for some reason. And sometimes that happens. So if you, let's just say he's a fan of Sidney Lumet and he doesn't like his last few films, does that mean he's always not going to like them? Or you don't know that because we're in the present tense and we don't know what's going to happen. It seems like there's a lot of anxiety about the future coming in here. And I don't know why you would take yourself out of the game kind of for no reason, based on the assumption that you think you're not going to have reasons to make films. So if you're 85 and you get an idea for a movie or a sequel to a movie you already did and it works and it's great, and you think everything is lined up here that it could be a good project, you're just not going to do it because you said 20 years ago that you were only going to do 10, you're going to stick to your principle. I think that's silly. And for the last reason of wanting to go out on a high note, brother, we do not know when we're going out. So why are we preparing for something that we don't know when's going to happen, and we don't know how it's going to happen, and we don't know what's going to happen in between now and that moment? Why not just do things that we love? If you don't love to do it, that's understandable. I get it. You're tired. Maybe you don't want to do it anymore. Walk away from it for a while. But to say like, this is going to be it, I'm not going to do it anymore. I think to say that for someone who's made such great films, who clearly has had a passion for it, who has this incredible amount of experience, not many people get to that point, to be that interested in the craft of making film, I don't know that you can ever count yourself out. So I just don't really understand why there's this retirement thing. It's not a sport. It's not about your body. Sure, your mind can get worn down, but taking 5 to 10 years off of making films seems like anything could happen in between now and that point where you might be rejuvenated and might think, I really have an idea for a movie. I want to make it. Just make it. And I also wonder if maybe one of the reasons he dropped this movie is because there's a lot of pressure being put, I think by himself, on himself, to make this movie going out on a high note. Like, why put that pressure on yourself? If it's a good movie, just make it. And if it's not, don't. But when you put yourself into a box where you're only going to make an arbitrary number of movies, 10, let's just say 10, then it makes the 10th one that much more special. I don't know why you would put handcuffs on yourself like that. But and I say this out of respect because I love your movies. I think you're a master of filmmaking. I love cinematic speculation. It helped reinforce my love for movies of the 70s. I think this guy has a great movie mind, of course. And I just don't understand why he would put these kind of limitations on himself. I hope that he changes his mind. I hope that his next movie is great. I'm sure that it will be. And I hope this sort of respectfully silliness just kind of fades away. You're great at it. I think you should just keep making movies whenever you get the urge to do so.